In 1918, the guns of World War I finally fell silent. Across Europe, people believed peace had returned. Soldiers went home, nations mourned their dead, and leaders promised a future without war. But hidden beneath the celebration was a dangerous mistake. A single treaty written in the name of peace would divide Europe, fuel hatred, and set the stage for an even deadlier conflict. That treaty was the Treaty of Versailles. Europe, after World War I left Europe physically and emotionally shattered. Entire cities were reduced to rubble. Factories were destroyed. Millions of young men were dead or permanently wounded. France and Belgium had become vast battlefields. Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Russia were collapsing from within. The people wanted peace. But many leaders wanted punishment. The Paris Peace Conference. In 1919, world leaders gathered in Paris to decide the future of Europe. The most powerful voices were Woodrow Wilson of the United States, Georges Clemenceau of France, David Lloyd George of Britain. Germany, the defeated nation, was not allowed to participate in the negotiations. The terms of peace were decided without the presence of the country most affected by them. This alone planted the seeds of resentment. What was the Treaty of Versailles? The Treaty of Versailles was the official peace agreement between Germany and the Allied powers. On paper, it was meant to prevent future wars. In reality, it became a document of punishment. Its key terms included the War Guilt Clause, massive economic reparations, loss of territory, severe military restrictions. Each clause weakened Germany economically, militarily, and psychologically. The War Guilt Clause, Article 231 of the treaty, known as the War Guilt Clause, stated that Germany was solely responsible for World War I. This clause humiliated the German population. Many Germans believed the war was caused by complex alliances and shared failures across Europe, not by Germany alone. Being officially blamed for millions of deaths created deep national anger. This was not peace. This was humiliation. Economic punishment. Germany was forced to pay enormous war reparations amounting to billions in today's money. The German economy collapsed under the pressure. By 1923, inflation spiraled out of control. Savings became worthless. Workers were paid with wheelbarrows of cash. People who had lived stable lives were suddenly poor. Economic despair turned into political rage. Loss of territory. Germany lost significant land under the treaty. Alsace-Lorraine returned to France. Large areas were given to Poland. All overseas colonies were taken away. This loss meant fewer resources, weaker industry, and broken national pride. Millions of ethnic Germans suddenly found themselves living outside Germany's borders. Military humiliation. The German army was reduced to 100,000 soldiers. Germany was banned from having tanks and air force submarines. A nation that once dominated Europe militarily could no longer properly defend itself. This was not just strategic weakness, it was psychological defeat. Impact on German society. The Treaty of Versailles poisoned German public opinion. Many citizens blamed their new democratic government, the Weimar Republic, for accepting the treaty. Democracy became associated with weakness and betrayal. Extremist ideas began to grow. People were no longer asking for compromise. They were demanding revenge. End of Part 1. The Treaty of Versailles was supposed to end war forever. Instead, it created anger, instability, and resentment across Europe, especially in Germany. Peace had been signed, but another war was already being prepared. In Part 2, we will see how this treaty helped fuel extremism, empower Adolf Hitler, and push Europe back into total destruction. Part 2. From Broken Peace to Total War, approximately equals 1,000 words. Introduction. By the early 1920s, Europe appeared calm on the surface. But beneath that calm was unresolved anger, especially in Germany. The Treaty of Versailles had not healed Europe. It had wounded it, and wounded nations are dangerous. The Weimar Republic, Germany's new democratic government, faced impossible challenges. A ruined economy, political violence from both left and right, public hatred toward the treaty. Many Germans believed democracy had failed them. This environment became fertile ground for extremist leaders. The rise of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler emerged during this period of chaos. He spoke directly to the anger of the German people. He promised to destroy the Treaty of Versailles to rebuild Germany's military, to restore national pride. Most importantly, he gave people someone to blame. Fear and frustration made his message powerful. The treaty, as a political weapon. Hitler used the Treaty of Versailles as proof that Germany had been betrayed. Every restriction, every payment, every humiliation became fuel for his speeches. He did not create Germany's anger, he exploited it. Europe's dangerous silence. Throughout the 1930s, Hitler openly violated the treaty, rebuilding the German army, creating an air force, occupying the Rhineland. Yet Britain and France did nothing. They feared another war. They chose appeasement instead of action. This silence convinced Hitler that no one would stop him. The fatal flaw of the Treaty of Versailles, failed in two critical ways. It punished Germany too harshly. It lacked the power to enforce its own rules. This imbalance created the perfect conditions for disaster. The road to World War II. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland. World War II began. This war was larger, deadlier, and more brutal than the first. More than 60 million people would die. The Holocaust would become one of humanity's greatest crimes. Europe would once again be reduced to ruins. Europe destroyed again, the treaty meant to prevent war had helped cause an even worse one. Cities burned, nations collapsed, entire populations were traumatized. The cost of a flawed peace was paid in blood. Lessons from the Treaty of Versailles. History teaches us a powerful lesson. Peace, built on humiliation, does not last. Punishment without justice creates resentment. And unresolved anger always returns stronger. The Treaty of Versailles did not fail because it ended World War I, it failed because it created World War II. Final conclusion: one treaty reshaped Europe. One treaty planted the seeds of destruction. One treaty proved that a bad peace can be more dangerous than war itself. Europe wanted peace in 1919. What it received was a countdown to catastrophe.